We are all lying on top of our muscles with a layer of body fat. And you continue to see stuff like more muscle definition, striations and veins by taking away much of the body fat. And while it's hard to get to very low body fat levels, such as 12%, 10%, and 8%, it's certainly possible to do naturally. So, I want to go over the exact steps you need to take in today's video to get to those very low body fat levels. Now, first of all, you have to wonder if this is actually something you really want to do, because there are certain disadvantages to having a really low percentage of body fat. Hunger, a lack of stamina, low libido, lightheadedness, mood swings and still feeling cold are some of these. So I'm sure it's no surprise when I say I'm staying below 8%. Usually, body fat over a long period of time is unsustainable, especially if you do it naturally. So yeah, for a certain day when you have an event like a bodybuilding competition, a photoshoot, a wedding, or whatever, you can get to those very low levels of body fat. But the likelihood of holding such a low percentage of body fat every day over time is slim, especially while still being able to feel healthy. And the fact is just that. However, for that certain case, many of you might only want to become as lean as possible. And then put your percentage of body fat back up a little afterward, so you can still feel good and safe while still striving for anesthetic. So, step number 1 is to create a small calorie deficit in particular. If you are overweight or obese, and you only want to lose as much body fat as possible in the shortest period of time at the moment, there are more drastic options available for you to lose fat. But you're not able to worry about getting down to a single-digit percentage of body fat yet. You should already be fairly lean, and you should intend on it taking a decent amount of time, anywhere from 6 weeks to months, depending on how lean you are right now when starting out, if you want to get to a very low body fat percentage. Now, the reason you want to build a small deficit is that your body triggers those mechanisms that lower energy consumption to a greater degree than someone who has a lot of weight to lose, because you're already lean and you're in a calorie deficit. When you have a relatively low percentage of body fat already, a negative energy balance causes insulin such as growth factor 1 or IGF-1, and testosterone to all drop very rapidly to the thyroid hormone, growth hormone. Your body will produce more adrenaline, norepinephrine, and cortisol instead of these anabolic hormones that help you create muscle and burn fat. As a consequence, you will be more vulnerable to loss of muscle, which is why maintaining only a slight calorie deficit is critical. This is all backed up by research. For example, one study compared the difference between dieting for 3 months with a calorie deficit of 25% or a very low-calorie diet of just 890 calories per day. The end of the study. Even though more weight was lost by the very low-calorie diet category, the muscle-to-fat loss ratio was much greater. That's why, particularly when you lose more and more body fat, you want to take a slower dieting approach. If you're between 12 and 14%, a good guide is to go for a 20% calorie deficit. Right now, if you are between 10 and 12% body fat, a 10% calorie deficit, and a 5% calorie deficit if you are between 8 and 10% body fat. To find out how much body fat you have on your body right now, you can get a Dexa scan, but it takes time and it costs money. So, looking in the mirror and comparing your amount of body fat to the image you see on the computer right now is a remarkably accurate way for you to guess your body fat. Any figure that tells you the estimated percentage of body fat looks most like you. The next move is to use your calories to spin. And there are a few explanations for doing so. First, since you're going to diet for some time, you should bear in mind that the key reason that diets fail is hunger. That's why improving your diet and lifestyle for hunger control is necessary. And one way you can do that is to use your calories to spin. This means that on certain days more calories are consumed, and in others less. For example, let's assume that you need to consume a total of 12,000 calories a week in order to lose weight, which is around 1,715 calories a day. Although you could consume 1,715 calories per day and hit 12,000 calories by the end of the week, you could have 2 days of lower calories and 5 days of higher calories every week instead. For example, on Monday and Thursday, eating 1,200 calories will save you calories for the rest of the week, enabling you to have 1,920 calories on other days. And in a way that fits your tastes, you can set this up. So for the other days of the week, you can do 3, 4, or even 5 lower calorie days to bring in a lot more calories. Conforming to the cycle of proof. Compared to constant calorie limitation, calories like this will improve diet adherence, diet satisfaction, and weight loss. Now, you need to keep a few crucial things in mind in order for calorie cycling to work. First, every day of the week, ensure that you reach your protein target. You get at least 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, which is around 7 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. The second argument is that because your protein consumption will stay the same, carbohydrates or fats, or a combination of both will likely need to be decreased to minimize your calories on your lower calorie days. And thirdly, you're going to want to prepare your low calorie days on your rest days. This is because protein synthesis is what contributes to muscle development, and on the days you eat fewer calories, both muscle maintenance and protein synthesis will be lower, especially if you are considered advanced. So save for your exercise sessions the higher calorie days. Bear in mind that even though you cycle your calories to have higher calorie days, you offset them with the lower calorie days. These do not cheat days or refeeds for total out. In fact, when trying to achieve a very low body fat percentage, the next move is to be really careful with cheat days, and you'll definitely want to avoid them in general. I see a lot of people make the mistake of cheating with stuff like protein cookies, low-calorie ice creams, as well as other processed foods every week. And then they're left wondering why a certain amount of body fat can't get past them, even though cheat days can certainly help you keep emotionally on track when your aim is to only lose some weight. And even when done correctly, as you cut, they will help you retain your strength as you can consume a lot of carbohydrates and refill those muscle glycogen stores that offer you more strength. The fact that cheat days are not that great if you want to get to those really low body fat levels doesn't change that. And there are a few explanations for that. First of all, the obvious thing is that if you increase your calorie intake above maintenance, and you don't bounce it out with lower calorie days as we've already talked about, you're going to obviously get back some of the weight you've already lost. When you're at those lower stages, it's very easy to get the weight back, but not so easy to lose it. Second, while a cheat day can boost your metabolism, there is no proof or reason to assume that when you return to your daily calorie deficit, the already tiny increase in your metabolic rate will continue. That's because, after someone has a cheat day, the increased metabolic rate we see is mostly due to the greater thermal impact of digesting the larger amount of food. So actually digesting more food is what will cost your body more calories and boost your metabolism. Because you had a cheat day, you're not just going to continue burning more calories forever. Third, the appetite does not necessarily decrease after a cheat day or a refeed on the following days. That's why I still assume that the primary advantage is purely emotional, not so much physical, for most individuals. Research actually shows that appetite control is mainly influenced by the structure of the body, not the consumption of energy. So the amount of calories you consume on a day normally does not affect the following day's appetite. Some studies have also shown that overfeeding can actually increase appetite rather than minimize it by 60% more calories. In other words, you're not very likely to deceive your metabolism and your levels of hunger by cheating. So, in the best case situation, the fat loss will usually be paused by a cheat day. It can also do more harm than good, however, because if you go overboard, instead of trying to improve your metabolism, it can cause you to regain some of the lost body fat. You want to either lower your calorie consumption more or boost your activity level with cheat days when you reach a plateau. In addition, in one of these two cases, you will have to lower your energy balance because your body will have already adapted to your previous calorie intake. Now you should know that one is not necessarily better than the other when deciding between more reducing your calories or exercising more. That's because fat loss is about energy balance almost entirely. It doesn't matter whether you decrease your energy balance by doing exercise or eating less, weight and fat loss are the same, given the same energy balance. You may want to try lowering your calorie intake first, if possible, instead of adding more exercise to your fitness routine. That the amount of calories you can burn through consuming a little less includes a ton of cardio to match. On top of that, cardio will inhibit the growth of muscles. This can be seen in a 2012 meta-analysis that observed a 39% reduction in muscle growth effect size by adding cardio to a resistance training regimen. For the muscle mass, this detrimental effect is referred to as the interference effect. But even with this impact in mind, there is a stage where lowering your calorie intake further while still fulfilling your protein and micronutrient requirements becomes difficult or at least extremely impractical. If your calorie intake is still very low, there's no way around it, so you're going to have to increase your activity level. There are two techniques in that case that will help you mitigate the effect of the interference while still burning calories. First of all, note that the goal of cardio for fat loss is simply to maximize energy spending, not to boost your stamina, which is a separate goal. So to reach the calorie deficit you are looking for, a program in as little cardio as you need. Secondly, for example, the lower intensity forms of cardio, such as walking, contribute much less to this interference effect than the higher intensity forms of cardio. And third, as far away as possible from your strength training exercises, you will want to do the aerobic workouts. Research demonstrates that this often really helps mitigate the effect of interference. However, if you have no choice but to mix the cardio and the strength training in the same routine by chance, then after the weight training, save the cardio so that you can perform at your best and lift the hardest loads you can. In order to retain muscle during a calorie deficit, this is necessary. Finally, the fifth step that most individuals forget is to make sure you get enough sleep. It's necessary, in general, to get enough sleep if you want to lose weight. But if you want to become really lean, this is particularly true, and there are two key explanations for this. One is that sleep deficiency suppresses appetite-satisfying hormones such as leptin while increasing the levels of ghrelin, the starvation hormone. And it certainly doesn't help that when you're very lean, ghrelin levels are already automatically elevated, which means it's particularly important to focus on regulating these appetite hormones while further and further reducing your percentage of body fat. The second explanation is that sleep of low quality inhibits the burning of fat and stimulates muscle wasting. So, despite sleeping badly, even though you lose weight, more of the pounds you lose will come from muscle rather than fat. And there's plenty of proof to support this. One weight loss research, for instance, found that sleeping just 40 fewer minutes per day from Monday to Friday changed the ratio of muscle quantity to fat loss from 20% to 80%. And another study found that sleeping 5.5 hours instead of 7.5 hours a day increases muscle loss by 60%, thus reducing weight loss by 55% in the form of fat. But, in the end, make sure you're getting enough sleep. If you want to hit those low levels of body fat, it's really necessary. But this is about wrapping things up, guys. Even though these steps may sound easy, you will be able to drop your body fat to a very low level by following them consistently for enough time. I do hope this video was enjoyed by you guys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have, and click the bell button. Also, if you are looking for a workout schedule done for you that can be done at home or in a gym, which also includes a personalized meal plan that will be based on you and your preferences, whether it is intermittent fasting, carb cycling, one meal a day, keto or vegan, whatever, we do all those plans, click the link below in the overview and head over to my website. Between the 3 gyms we have, we've put thousands of people into these initiatives, and my clients who follow the plan are losing 20 pounds or 5% of their body fat in just 6 short weeks. Click the link below to learn more.